Hi, this is Jeremy, and today you're watching Fresh Takes with Dr. Wagner. Today's topic is CBD oil. Recently, Dr. Perlmutter, multiple New York Times best-selling author and neurologist, had a blog post treating inflammation with CBD. Mark, what's your take?
Yeah, this is a really good topic, Jared. Thanks for bringing it up. So I think there's 2 points I want to make about CBD right off the bat. One is that CBD derived from hemp is not the same thing as CBD derived from marijuana. Hemp and marijuana are not the same thing, in case people are worried about that. And the other point I want people to take home is that CBD oil indeed can be used to successfully ameliorate or at least reduce some of the inflammation associated with a variety of conditions because, as you may or may not know, inflammation is sort of the background problem in a lot of disorders, everything from Alzheimer's to depression to neuropathic or musculoskeletal pain. So let's take a look real briefly at the first question people may have, like, I've heard all kinds of good things about CBD oil, but I'm a little bit afraid because I associate it with marijuana. So I just want to put people at ease there for a second, because cannabis is a family name, a family name. It's a plant family name. It's not even a genus or a species. So by the time you get all the way down to the genus, species, and subspecies level, now you're talking about hemp and marijuana. So these plants can be quite different from each other. Hemp contains mostly CBD and like 0.3% or less of the psychoactive THC that some people are concerned about, whereas marijuana can contain up to 40% THC. So it makes a difference where you're deriving your CBD from, because you can get it from both plants. So hemp-based CBD is not going to have virtually any psychoactive component, and in fact it's legal in all 50 states because of that. So, and you can buy it without having to have a medical marijuana card or something like that. So it's quite different. So you can rest easy with that. The other really interesting thing is that aside from all the other things that have been talked about with cannabis, this idea of it as an anti-inflammatory is super interesting, because recent research published in the Free Radical Biology and Medicine has demonstrated that CBD has a wide-ranging activity across multiple spectrums of inflammation in terms of reducing the damaging effects of free radicals. So it does this specifically through modulating the immune system. And this might have benefits on a variety of conditions, including rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, atherosclerosis, Alzheimer's, as we mentioned, depression, and neuropathic and musculoskeletal pain. Let me tell you a brief story. So in the spring of 2016, I got really sick from complications, the simultaneous complications of both mold biotoxin illness and Lyme disease. First, it just destroyed my mentation, could hardly think, for about 6 months, and then it destroyed my musculoskeletal system with chronic pain. And I used to joke rather grimly that I had sold my chronic pain practice as a physician only to become one of my patients, and that this was some sort of karma inflicted on me. Now, I knew the hazards of taking lots of over-the-counter anti-inflammatories like Motrin and Naprosyn. I knew the hazards of prescription drugs like opioids, and I didn't want to go down that path. Believe me, I tried everything, and the side effects were unacceptable. I finally got to the point where I was just taking Motrin all the time, knowing that that was destroying my gut and setting me up for more immune disorders as my gut became leakier and leakier. That's another topic we can talk about later. Then I stumbled upon CBD oil, and when I realized that it was not the same thing as THC and it was not psychoactive, I started using it because I didn't want to get high. I just wanted to get some anti-inflammatory relief or some pain relief. And lo and behold, it did help me. It didn't help me sleep by altering my mood or making me sleepy, but it helped me sleep because it reduced my pain. So I think I have really good positive experience with CBD. There's lots of different extracts of CBD. What you want to avoid are the hexane or butane or anything that sounds like that extracts, because those are pretty caustic chemicals. You want things like CO2 extraction or water extraction or alcohol extraction. And if it's coming from hemp, you really don't have to worry about THC. unless you want the THC, then you might want to look at CBD that's derived from marijuana and does have small amounts of THC in it, or even large amounts. And sometimes people say that actually works better for them. I haven't used those compounds. But so I think it's an exciting area. We are, as a natural plant-derived anti-inflammatory, CBD is really now joining the other familiar players in this arena, like turmeric and curcumin and ginger and many others. So I think it's pretty exciting, and now that it's widely available. There's different ways of putting it together. I talked about the extractions, but there's also ways of taking it down to a pure CBD or a CBDA fraction you might see out there, or CBD compounds that have been extracted, and then they've added back in the other compounds that they took out, so that you have what's called the other terpenes and whatnot, so that you get what's called the entourage effect, more of the holistic effect. It's a little bit harder to measure, but many people say that works better. So you kind of have to experiment and see what works for you. Again, always clear this with your physician. It is an active compound and may interact with other things. So at least make sure that your treating physician knows that you are trying this. And I think that's all I have to say. One, don't be afraid of a hemp CBD oil because you are confusing it with marijuana. They're two different things. And two, it may be useful for conditions in which inflammatory processes play a prominent role.
Yeah, so I actually have two questions that came to mind during the talk there. One was on form factor, which you actually covered with the different extracts and whatnot. But the other question was for you mentioned inflammation in general, but I was thinking migraines, because I think I've heard people having good luck with CBD for migraines. Is that something that you've seen in the research at all, or know anything on?
It sounds totally self-absorbed, but I didn't struggle with migraines, so I wasn't looking at the literature through that lens. So off the top of my head, I can't comment on that. But if there's anecdotal evidence or people are saying it, it's probably something that you would have to try and as a what do you call it, N of one study on yourself.
Got it. Well, thank you, Dr. Wagner. Anything else to add, or we wrap it up?
Yep, that's it.
All right. Thank you.